Okay, so on to part 4 of the video. We'll be taping the joints and whatnot. So I'm using fiber fuse. This stuff is supposedly pre-creased, but I find that the stuff that I got from Amazon was not. Anyway, fiber fuse comes very highly recommended relative to paper tape for taping joints. So you can see when I'm taping these joints, I just apply a little bit of joint compound and then put the tape over it across the seam. I have kind of a difficult problem here. I've got on the edge of the wall there's a beam, and I've got a 2x4 up against the wall that's flush with the existing sheetrock, and I've got about a 3/4 of an inch gap that I need to fill. So I'm gonna see if fiber fuse is up to the task. It's a big gap to fill. This is only 2-inch wide tape. But I had really good luck with it. I look at the wall now and I can't tell there's anything wrong with it. It seems solid, no bubbling, nothing like that. So here it is after I've taped that big gap between the beam and the wall. So as you can see, I'm actually using the 2x4. I'm drywalling directly on the 2x4. Now I'm going to put fiber fuse in the corner. It was supposedly pre-creased, but mine wasn't. So I just put joint compound on either corner, and then you kind of lay the fiber fuse diagonally in the joint, and I use a putty knife and press it into the corner, and that worked pretty well, even though it wasn't creased. Very solid, nice corners. So after I lay the fiber fuse, I just put a thin skim coat, a thin layer of mud over the top of it, and we're good to go. So here I am sanding with a pole sander and 80 grit sandpaper. I'm not a big Nazi about sanding. I just try to get the obvious ridges off. I find that texture and inherently straight walls will cover most issues. Sanding is a messy task, and I really hate it. I'm wearing a ventilator, full ventilator. Okay, so once I've done sanding, I'm gonna skim coat the entire ceiling. If I was really being lazy, I could just skim coat it around the joints and then texture, but I decided to skim coat the entire ceiling. So for laying texture, I use this Linzer spaghetti paint roller. After an aborted attempt to texture with just a thin, you can see just a 3/4 inch nap roller is what's on there now. Now I'm retexturing with the Linzer, and you can see how I just take kind of a watered down joint compound, lay it on the wall like this. And I've learned as I've gone with this texturing, I find that I didn't do a very good job on this part of the wall. You want to make sure that the kind of knobby parts of the texture are even. I would recommend kind of going conservatively and do it in 2 or 3 passes across, just to make sure that you've got kind of an even. Imagine that you have a texture gun. You want to see an even spread of little bits of joint compound. So I'm getting better as I go, but still learning. So it's definitely slower than rolling a wall with painting. It probably took me 5 minutes to do this section. So here I am coming with a big knife, big 12-inch knife to knock it down. And I didn't do a very good job of knocking this down. I was too aggressive. When you knock it down, you want to really hold that knife parallel to the wall as much as possible. Finishing it. So next I'm kind of looking obliquely at the wall with light shining on it. So you can see that it's an okay job. Could have done better.